Welcome to the Flip Your Script podcast. I'm Christy Peel. Today, I'm thrilled to have my friend Joyce Toti, founder and CEO of Collective Women's Leadership, joining us. She's using social media for good by empowering women to step into their confidence and influence. By building a large online audience, she's using her social media presence as a tool for mentorship, connection, and leadership storytelling. Joyce, it's so good to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you for such a wonderful introduction, and I'm so honored to be here.
Your social media is like twofold because you have Joyce, the person, and then you have Collective Women's Leadership. And I know you well enough and we've talked enough to know that where your social media is now and where it started or where you thought it was going, there's a pretty big chasm between. So if you could just kind of start by talking about how you started using social media and where it is now, I think that might help set up the conversation.
Sure, where I started using social media on the Collective Women's, well, like all of us, right? I had Joyce Toti, which is my personal Instagram that I think we all started using just to post updates about fun things we were doing in our personal life. And then I decided when I was in grad school, an older grad student, that this younger generation, to no fault of their own, had no real mentorship because after COVID, all of that went away. And I really wanted to help ensure that building your brand and building your business and confidence cannot happen in your bedroom on your laptop in your pajamas working. And like I always say, to no fault of their own, but they didn't have all of the luxuries that we had in terms of going into an office and quietly observing what other leaders do, how they show up, how they dress, how they are, and go through tough conversations in a meeting that they might not be prepared for. And so, what I started doing through Collective Women's Leadership Instagram was putting out daily content of real life situations that every single woman has gone through, regardless of her industry, regardless of the level in her career, and really started using real women with real life experience, unfiltered, and really going through these really tough subjects that no one was speaking about online.
And I want to add a little flavor to what you said because we were in grad school together, which is how we first met several years ago. And we were both surprised by how people, our fellow classmates, some of them showed up to class. So it's professionals, it's a master's level program at Pepperdine. And there were people that would show up for class with a professor who was a very accomplished man or woman in their field in pajamas, in their bed,
Yes.
walking on a treadmill. And you and
Yes.
I were both so shocked because we came up through our careers where you dress and show up like a level above
Right.
because you're aiming to get to the next place. So you have to act that role before your business card reflects it. And we were surprised. And if you have young people or you're a younger person listening, please, I beg of you, don't ever take a professional call in your bed.
Ever. No, it's wild, right? So we started, I mean, the idea of collective women's leadership was truly born out of grad school, watching these emergent leaders who were maybe entering the workforce for the very first time, thinking that it was okay to present themselves this way in these situations. And they did come to me often, as I'm sure they did to you, like, Joyce, how are you so confident? How are you able to speak the way you do and challenge the professor and all of these things? Well, I thought it was very nice of them. I reminded them I'm 20 years older and have been in the workforce, and these are things you just learn how to navigate, and it's okay to challenge a thought from a professor or from anyone and have a different point of view. And that's really where collective women's leadership was born, in those classroom settings, surrounded by those emergent leaders who really had nowhere to go.
And to your point, I think to highlight it, many of those students were maybe in high school or college during COVID. Even the way that they experienced school for their undergrad or for high school was very different than how you and I experienced
Yeah.
education. So if it becomes okay or normal to take important calls or meetings in your pajamas or at home, it it then becomes okay to show up to work like that. And the interesting thing, the reason that it's a problem, I think it speaks to how some of the messages you started sharing on collective women's leadership. We're in a group setting. We have to pick groups. So you don't know people in a Zoom room or on, in a team environment. Doesn't matter if it's school or professional. And some people are showing up like ready to get after it. And some people look like they maybe haven't showered for a few days. Who do you want on your team?
Of course.
And that translates. And I think that's a very basic example, but give me some of your favorite tips that you've shared on collective women's leadership that have really resonated. And many of them, to your surprise, went viral. You got this huge following because you're just speaking the truth in a way that people haven't heard it before.
Yeah, a few, the most basic is when you start a meeting and it's how to have a proper handshake. I know that seems really elementary and really basic, but there are so many, unfortunately, women and even men, but more so women that do not shake your hand like they mean it. And the moment you go into any business setting, specifically in a male-dominated industry, or with a male, and you don't shake their hand appropriately and you have a very wet, limp handshake, you immediately don't win. You immediately show that you aren't there as an executive to have a seat at the table. And it's so basic, yet we walk and see that all the time. I got a lot of, we got a lot of hate or opinions when I talk about getting ready for work, right? So, and a lot of people only hear what they want to hear. So you don't feel, I don't care who you are, you don't feel your best with sleep in your eyes, rolling out of bed in your pajamas, presenting your best self. And people can come at me and say, I truly happen to be like a full face makeup girl when I'm in executive settings for a reason. And I think there's some pretty big influencers who've done Harvard, who in the Harvard business studies have come out saying, if you wear makeup as a woman, you're going to make 30% more. That is fact. Like these studies have come out and they're fact. And I'm not saying that if you don't like makeup or you don't want to wear a full face, I get it. I'm just talking about some moisturizer on your face, some like your lips not dried out, and maybe some Vaseline or chapstick, and maybe a tiny bit of blush and mascara. Unfortunately, online, the only thing they heard me say is you have to wear mascara. That's never what I said. But you can't tell me as a woman, as a woman, that you're going to walk into a boardroom or executive meeting with with nothing on your face and expect to get taken seriously. Now, listen, there are women who are in the top 1% of top 1%, and they've gotten there in their career, and it's like the same adage, some of the younger generation says, well, look at Jeff Bezos or look at Mark Zuckerberg, they get to wear sweats and t-shirts. Well, you're not them. You're not them until you are the Oprahs of the world or the Zuckerbergs of the world. Then you can dictate. But you even see someone as prestigious as Oprah who truly built her brand by showing up ready for camera every single day. And she still does it today. There's a reason for that.
And let's be honest, men who are going to work also probably have washed their face and maybe have something so that it doesn't look like they don't care about their appearance. And to your point, it isn't about showing up and saying, this is for you. It's really about sending a message that I take time, I pay attention to details. And when someone pays attention to details and takes time and values their own worth, it translates into doing that for their team, for their business, for their brand, for their teammates. So it does translate. And what's fun about social media is that you said something that it sparked for people, and you got a massive following, and it struck a chord. So gift in disguise.
Yeah, really. I mean, as we all know now, we all love like the haters or the people that come after us on social media because, the more they do that, it just helps me stay in everyone's algorithm. So we're here for it.
What I love about your content personally and with CWL is that it's so authentic, and you don't, like many women, apologize for who you are or what you think. So people can disagree totally fine, actually
Yeah,
very healthy, but you aren't trying to be what people want. You're being who you are and giving people the truth, whether they like to hear it or not, based in fact, based in study, based in experience, and allowing people to engage with that for the purpose of helping them.
that's right.
I,
Yes.
I love the helping them because all of your videos and your content is always giving a nugget to help someone else. And you've been doing it long enough now that women have been able to apply it and have seen promotions and
Sure.
really exciting things. Talk about some of what the CWL, which when CWL is a digital platform for people anywhere and a physical opportunity for folks in the Vegas area and Arizona and probably other
Yeah.
places as
Soon. Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So Collective Women's Leadership started as a Las Vegas networking chapter. And it was really, again, after COVID, what we found, or what I found, was there's a big gap in the market. Typically, networking environments are industry specific or title specific, and that is horrible if you think about it. And here's why. So if it's only title specific and it's VP or above, where does the emergent leader go? And if it's only industry specific and the data shows that we're all going to have a few different vast careers and you're only networking with people in an industry that you might not like, how do you get out? And so collective women's leadership is for every woman at every stage of her career, regardless of industry or title. And what is how we grew in Vegas so again authentically is I started hosting every other week coffee connects. It's non-prescriptive, it's not intimidating. You between 8 and 10 every other Friday before the gym, after kid drop off, before a meeting. However, come as you are and pull up a cup of coffee and let's talk about what's happening in the industry that you're in and teach us about your industry. And we collaborate and collectively we solve the world's problems, if you will. But what people really loved about that, and that's how we grew, is we were consistent in showing up in an authentic way, and we never miss, right? Someone's always there from my founding member team. We're always there. And what we hear a lot is that's how natural connections happen. The third thing about a lot of networking industries is people always have their hands out and their cards out and to vie for business or to get in front of somebody. And that's at Collective Women's Leadership. I'm honored and happy to say that never happens. And I hear that from the other members. And then that also gives women opportunities to bring their friends who may want to join and they see it. And immediately after an hour of coffee with us, they're like, how do I join? And then women started coming to me outside of Vegas, really asking how they could bring collective women's leadership to their community. And so we did a test in Austin, and she's doing great. We have an Austin chapter. Our Scottsdale chapter opens September 17th, that launch. And then I'm really excited to share that we have a huge campaign that we'll be launching in the next few months in terms of bringing collective women's leadership to your city and what that means. Because we want to create this national network of women, and we would host Zoom, put people in cohorts, have Zoom calls where I highlight other women in other cities to have a hot seat and present to the entire group in terms of who they are and what they'd like to teach. And I think that the way that I want to do it in this authentic way doesn't exist right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's really exciting and it's needed. There is this still sort of mean girl there. Gosh, there's one seat at the table. And so we all better be fighting for it like musical chairs. And I've been around collective women's leadership and been around those women in person, which thank you for that opportunity. And these women really are genuinely wanting to get better, knowing that to get better is more fun and beneficial when you bring other people with you and when you have authentic connections and are engaged. And those women really are there cheering for each other.
Yeah, it is fascinating to see what happens because if you have a natural connection with someone in a different industry, you may need their expertise in something and you may need to call them about something else. And you just see the synergy happening all the time. In our global network, if you're a member, you have a full directory. It's a closed networking directory online as well. So there's numerous ways to engage, and that spun off a lot of different ways that then I expanded my brand through corporate contracts. So what happened is the through collective women's leadership, and you never know who's watching online, and you never know, the stuff you put out is definitely not for your friends, and it's definitely not for your family. And I think a lot of times what stops women from wanting to share their wisdom is, what is my cousin going to think, or what are my siblings going to think, or what are my dear friends going to think? They're going to think I'm silly and I'm bragging, and I want the spotlight and the stage and all of those things. And the second you can cut that noise out, and if you have something that you want to deliver to a community, or your online message being one of to your point, flipping your script and making it a positive message to create a legacy, I think the second you get out of your own way and just start facing the camera and doing it, you'll see a huge increase of, and it takes time. You do have to be in it for the long game, right? We're 2 years in, this April, and you do have to be in it for the long run. But collective women's leadership is all about relationship building. I'm not a transactional based company. So I'm not one that's going to say, sign up with me now and I'll get an additional $1,500 in your bank account because I'm going to teach you a hack on becoming a better leader. Like, I find that to be total bullshit. Don't listen to hacks. The wild west of the internet's full of shit. I hope I could swear on this podcast. But I do think that we became so popular because after about a year, what happened is I had business leaders and decision makers then asking if I could come into their corporations and do a 6-week program for emergent leaders or women on, how to advocate for themselves, how to show up better, how to have tough conversations, how to create like mini collective women's leaderships within their organizations. And I had no idea that these decision makers were watching my content. And then now you have decision makers who are watching it who know it's real, and everything I'm talking about is industry agnostic. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Everything we talk about, we've all gone through.
It's been really fun to watch it grow and to see it and to have a little bit of flavor of it in person, and to see that these women really live by the sort of adage that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And that to me is what collective women's leadership is. For a long time, men have sort of owned the luxury lifestyle space.
Mm-hmm.
And women have felt that to go into that space and to show a life that could be aspirational for many is not okay.
Yeah.
And you've said, watch me, boys.
Yeah.
And I love that you're just showing who you are and your authentic self without any excuses. And I said that once before, but I want to say it specifically about this kind of luxury lifestyle, because it isn't, to your point about this hack, do this thing and you get this, and you can have this bag if you do this. It's just, this is years and years of work and years of things. And I don't do it for this stuff, but it's pretty fun.
I like it.
Looks good. This is what I like. And nobody's complaining about someone having a fancy motorcycle. So why do you hate on my fill in the blank? Did you struggle at all internally about deciding to showcase some of that? Or did you think twice about it? Because the confidence that you have, I think many women and men too, for that matter, are not jealous, or where does that come from? And it's authentic. It's who you are.
Yeah, I think, it's really interesting for the outside audience that don't know me. They may have an opinion. I'm not sure what the opinion would be, but I guess for the outside audience and for the people who've known me a very long time, they know that's how I've been my entire life, because I've been a really hard worker in corporate space and very, very successful from that. And maybe the newer individuals who might know a little bit about my personal life might have a few other judgments. But once people actually get to know me and come inside, they know I actually don't show that much, considering. Right? You're one of those people that can attest to that. So I show just enough. I live a very luxurious lifestyle. I'm very proud of it. It's through 50 years of hard work and 35 years of hard work, and we're unapologetic for it. It's not a hack. It didn't happen overnight. It's sustainable. It's real. It's not fake. It's not rented. It's not who we are. And I think once people like get to know me truly and they're in, they really understand how we're here, and we're not apologetic for it. I also don't show my entire life on camera. But what I do show is, to your point, 1,000% authentic.
I think authentic and intentional,
Yeah,
because
sure.
you are making choices. And just because I adore you, you met my son Alec and
Yeah,
you had dinner with him and you generously gave him all sorts of life lessons and insights about exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
And it you're so generous with your knowledge and your information, and it isn't fake. You're not trying to show something to get more subscribers, for people that don't know what a sub is, to get more subs so that you can make more money. Like, that's not who you are. That's not what this is about. And there's so little of that out in the world. I
yeah,
think it's hard to believe it's real. And
right.
I'm just one person to say that this is who you are. And Collective Women's Leadership, yes, it's a business, and it
Yes,
really is coming from a place of helping people. And as I say in my book, as I talk about all the time on this podcast, social media at its best, that's what it does.
that's
And
right.
that's what you live every day.
And I am 100% a servant leader, right? There is no reason that I have to give this knowledge away, that I need to be an entrepreneur and build this company, and really to be a servant leader is who I am through Collective Women's Leadership. And when I started building it I built it from a place out of my own heart and gut and fire in my belly. And I recently saw a post that once you truly build it for you, which I'm building it for me to help others, that's when businesses are actually really successful. That's when you come across on in social media or whatever it is. And I think it resonates with people. So yeah, I work really hard in wanting to make a difference in women's lives, and really in an authentic way. I want women to find their authenticity in some way that they can, and walk the way I have, maybe.
Because it isn't about do these 10 things and be like Joyce. It's
That's what
do,
drives me nuts.
yes. And it's out there, right?
That's 99% of, I think, what this younger generation sees on a daily basis that's being pushed to them. And this unrealistic lifestyle that they think that they will get at 25, when they've put in no work, no longevity, no consistency, no grit, no determination. At 25, you still don't know anything. Yes, are there the top less than 1% of the social media influencers out there that are making it work? Yes, congratulations to them. They're getting brand deals and they're making a lot of money. I just hope they have something to fall back on. I hope they have really great financial advisors, and I really hope that when the influencer title dies and it becomes something next, I really hope this younger generation has something. And to that point, I've never done a brand deal. You will never, ever, ever see me on Collective Women's Leadership talk about something so important and say, oh, also, drop CWL in the link to get 10% off your next purchase of coffee, because this is what keeps me going. So I'm here to say, like, officially, I won't ever do a brand deal, because I don't need to chase that money
Yeah.
that way. I'm not a chaser. So, and I don't like that. I've watched some influencers really grow on social media and started where we were around the same time, and they get management companies and they are all into brand deals. And unfortunately, it turns me off to watch. I used to get so much value out of truly what they were saying. And now I know at the end of every single reel they're putting out, I've got to listen to an ad. And now it's
Which,
not even real.
yeah, and they may not even like it or not like it. They just have to
Right.
say it because they're getting paid and
Right. Yeah.
feeding the beast. In fact, your content the other way, you recently had a story about a $10 cup of coffee, and you're like, why is anyone paying $10 for this cup of coffee? I'm at the airport. So you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
get authentic content, not brand deals, because nobody is paying you to say stuff. You're really out there to help.
Yeah.
And even a top 1% influencer or a trust fund kid, or someone who doesn't have the financial limitations that other people do at 25 or 35 or 85. It's so important to realize that life throws hardship.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't always have to be financial. There's a lot of different ways that people can deal with hardship. And if you're going in to your career thinking, if I do these 10 things, it will be easy. It might be easy in one part of your life, but my goodness, to your point, grit and resilience and hard work and putting in the extra effort and putting on the lipstick even when you don't want to.
That's right.
all of that translates across all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
And you model that.
Yeah, not being a victim and not living in victimhood mentality and all of those things that I think people just need to just be an adult and be a warrior in this world, because if you want to be set apart in today's world, you do have to be a warrior that's out there just going for it. So there's these safe spaces. I've never understood what that was in terms of, I don't know. People need these safe places or their truths, or there's one truth, right? And we don't need to like pontificate about everyone else's truth. So it really people get bogged down in the minutia instead of just keeping their heads down and going to work and figuring out what they're good at, what they like to do, and make something of it through consistency.
And you can't show up well online until you do the really hard work of knowing who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for, and like you just said, what you like, what your passion is. That's the hard work that's happening behind the scenes. And then you can show up online and be authentic. But it doesn't go the other way around. That's a shortcut. It's a hack. It will not work in the long term. And that your content is all about these long-term truths proven.
Yeah, that's right.
Joyce, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm going to ask you one more question before we finish. You know, I could talk to you all day, and there are times where I have. This is not one of those times. But if you could describe social media in one word, what would it be?
Empowering.
Excellent word. Empowering. If you aren't following Joyce and haven't heard about her book or don't know about collective women's leadership, I encourage you to do your research, follow, listen to what she says. You don't have to agree with everything, but you will get those timeless truths, those things that will help you and your career. Tell the ladies in your life, and we will have all of those links on the Flip Your Script website. Thank you so much, Joyce. Always a joy to talk with you.
It was great talking to you.